Now, there's rumors behind the scenes about everybody. By everybody, I mean everybody.
So it's safe to say that a lot has happened in this Dream, TommyInnit Minecraft situation over the past 24 hours. Now, Dream has officially responded to a bunch of things in a 3-hour live stream. If you'd like an overall of this situation step by step, I have a playlist currently on this channel where you can see where the situation started, what was going on, and what's happening now. So I would recommend you go and check that out and then come back to this video. But Dream ended up making a few tweets on his account talking about possibly doing a live stream and asking for questions from his audience, right? So he could address basically everything, or everything that he thought was necessary at least. So I've clipped up some of the most interesting parts of this live stream, some things that I think are genuinely important to this situation, but there is over 3 hours worth of content, so I implore you to go and check out the full response so you can get Dream's full side of all of the things he was talking about. But let's start with the first interesting clip I got, which was Dream reacting and responding to Tubbo's weird assumptions around the Dream allegations, you know, the ones of grooming.
Hey, you know, I think Dream might have put a video out. I think, you know, like as if he hasn't, you know, most likely watched that video, or, you know, it's like the fear of wanting to form an opinion on it because you know that your audience has a different opinion than you, which is, I think, an issue in the community as a whole. It's something that I've dealt with obviously in the past, something that I think a lot of creators deal with in general. But no, just say Dream released a video debunking the allegations. Just say that. It's not hard to say that. Hey guys, I think it's important to note that even though this was a big issue that happened back then, at the time it was up in the air and we made decisions, but Dream released a video debunking.
This is something that's completely true from Dream here, right? Dream completely debunked these slanderous false allegations that plagued him for ages. And it's crazy to me the comments that people like Tubbo are making, like this absolutely extraordinary clip.
Disproving everything. So I think that's important to keep in mind, but also part of my brain is also tinfoil hat and like, okay, but enough money can make anything disappear.
And that's in reference to grooming allegations, and I mean he doubles down on this point, right, in this live stream. It's absolutely pathetic, gross, and disgusting.
Is that he's implying that potentially money made my allegations go away. Not, go watch the video and police conversations, lawyers' involvement, evidence of screenshots and logs and extensive research. Obviously, that was published on my channel. I think if you're going to say something like that, you have to have a reason.
Again, Dream is completely correct here. This is some pretty serious allegation you're levying against someone, right? That they possibly paid people off to cover up their own grooming allegations, right? You've got to have some type of evidence, some type of basis, right? To make this claim in the first place. It's very clear what the intent here is to make Dream look as bad as possible. Like, you don't even have to like Dream or agree with everything he's done, right? I certainly don't, to see that this is just completely fucked. Dream within this live stream actually enlightens people on how this situation actually originally started in his words.
But, Tubbo, this started actually with me sending a message to Tommy about him making pedophile jokes about me before my allegations came out, and how I didn't like that, and how it was not fair, and how I didn't feel like he was treating me like a friend.
I mean, could you imagine being friends with someone and constantly making jokes about them being a pedophile to your general audience, right? Like, of course, with the added context that Dream wants it to stop, has had conversations with Tommy about it, like saying, can you not, please?
He made a comment saying essentially, oh, of course, what a nonce, like, of course Dream's gonna do that. Like, oh, wait, was she a kid? Like, of course. And that type of thing was something that I had talked to Tommy about before, and that Tommy had actually done again and again and again and again. This is all prior to, obviously, the allegations came out later. And I expressed to Tommy in private that, hey, you're perpetuating this image that I am a creep, that I'm somehow creepy for, you know, DMing a reactor saying, hey, thanks for the reaction.
So here Dream is recounting his story of him trying to tell Tommy to stop making these pedophile jokes, right? He's giving them reasons why, like, can you not make these, right? It's really alluding to this whole narrative that, you know, I'm this weirdo creep. On the screen here as well, there's like half a message to try and prove this claim, and if what Dream is saying is true, right, about him constantly telling him, right, can you stop making these pedophile jokes publicly, it's doing this, or whatever, right? And Tommy is, you know, kind of refused, or said, yeah, I'll stop, or whatever, and continue to do so. You know, let's just grow. Like, surely you would just listen to your friend here. Like, I don't get why you wouldn't. It's not like Dream's in on the joke, right? He's saying, yeah, go for it. Like, you know, it's fine, it's funny, whatever. He's told you to stop several times if what Dream is saying is true here.
And I don't like that. And that can make me a target to people to give false allegations, which, guess what, ended up happening. And I'm not saying that it's 100% Tommy's fault. It's not. That'd be ridiculous to insinuate. But it is something that obviously was very frustrating. And I sent him, obviously, the rest of this message.
I mean, I completely sympathize with Dream here. Something that I never thought I would say, right, is if you've told this guy several times, can you stop making these jokes, and he's continued to, like, yeah, that's going to be frustrating. This is all within the context and idea that if what Dream is saying is true, of course.
Friend outside of in private. I can't even express how it feels without feeling stupid, because it's not one thing. It's just a collection of everything. I feel stupid even saying this because you can just come back and apologize like you have many times, and I'm supposed to believe it despite the minimal difference in the past. Like, people are getting false grooming allegations left and right, and I ask you not to make jokes like that, and you go on and a few days days later and make another one putting a target on my back. And it's not even really just that. It's the fact that I know that if that was Wilbur that DM'd that reactor, or Tubbo, or one of your other friends, or even just another YouTuber that it wasn't cool to hate on, you probably would have reacted positively and said that it was sweet of them or something. But it's me, so it's a creepy joke instead of just being positive towards me other than the 2 days after I say something like
I would really love to see how TommyInnit reacts to this, right? In the stream, Dream says that, Tommy said, can you not leave my messages? So he respects that. So I really want to see if Tommy, right, if he does respond to this and react to it, if, he's going to show his side of the messages to try and counter this, if he can counter this at all, or if, Dreamer here is actually telling the truth. So the next bit of information from this response that I found pretty interesting was the whole thing between Dream and Quackity, right? If you don't remember, this was to do with their Minecraft servers, right? And Dream paints this very interesting picture of TommyInnit and how he behaved in this whole situation.
And obviously was constantly asking me about the USMP, about saying, hey, when is the USMP happening? We need to do the USMP, and having tons of private conversations with me specifically about the USMP. And so obviously he was heavy involved in my my discussions.
Okay, fair enough. So Tommy maybe wanted to be involved in Dream's SMP, or not maybe, definitely wanted to be involved in Dream's next upcoming SMP stuff.
Essentially, he's like, when is the USMP coming out? I want to be a part of it. And I said, man, I'm trying to work things out with Quackity. I don't know what to do. I'm waiting. I messaged him. He's not replying to me. And Tommy's reply was, fuck Quackity. We need to go. You can't wait on him and let him, basically take the shine, essentially.
Again, coming from the stance that if what Dream here is saying is true, this is just insanely bizarre. Like, I'm not overly interested in the whole Quackity and Dream stuff in this specific situation. I think there's a lot more interesting stuff to, note down, but this is just an example of, the kind of person that Dream is painting Tommy out to be.
Tommy is someone that has behind the scenes, and in many occasions says that it's not, like, if you think that your action's going to cause anything like that, even if it's not your intention whatsoever, that you should never do that action, right? Which some people have that opinion, like about tweets, as an example, like where we've had disagreements on like, oh, you shouldn't quote retweet someone or whatever because it could cause them harassment. And he's always been on the side of no matter what, if there's harassment to be caused, you can, you want to avoid it. And so I think that in a world where he's being honest in this video and where, it's his actual opinion and, so on and so forth, then I still would be like, oh, it's going to cause problems. And if you care about somebody, you wouldn't want to do it. But it's the fact that it's not true. He knows it's not true. And he's pandering to a side of his audience, to try and, I don't know, to accomplish what? I don't think it was just for YouTube views. I do genuinely think it was to do with him being scared of being on Dream's side of like the USMP issue.
Dream here is very much portraying TommyInnit in this whole situation, right, as, very disingenuous, flip-flopping between sides for, whatever looks good for him. And this is an idea that's kind of reiterated throughout this whole live stream and response, right, is that in Dream's eyes, TommyInnit seems like maybe a bit of a slimy guy. Okay, but we're getting off track, right? In Tubbo's original live stream, Tubbo mentioned the fact that Dream ended up messaging Tommy's mum after the video where he mocked the Quackity and Dream stuff. But let's see what Dream has to say in response to this.
Actually, Tommy's mom is an active Twitter user. For those who don't know, she has a Twitter account that she posts on, and everyone knows it's Tommy's mom. She's not anonymous. She doesn't whatever. She has social media, and everyone knows that it's his mom. It's not, she tweets out, she says things, she replies to his tweets, she interacts with fans, whatever, right? Whenever this video dropped, Tommy's video dropped about, the QSP, my fans were obviously very upset.
I mean, this seems pretty reasonable, right? TommyInnit's mum does have a Twitter. She talks about, a lot of drama, controversy, response to fans and stuff, so he probably wanted to reach out to clarify a few things, right? She, at that point, has put herself in that public spotlight. I think it's also worth mentioning here before we continue with this segment, right, is that, Dream didn't reach out via phone number, right, like Tubbo was suggesting. He reached out via Twitter. The platform that TommyInnit's mum constantly posts on and gets involved in, right? Her public account.
It's just not true. I don't even have Tommy's mom phone number. I didn't get it during the doxing situation. I don't have it at all. I DM'd her on Twitter, where she's an active Twitter user as Tommy's mom.
If Dream had messaged TommyInnit's mum on her number, right, and he'd got that number from like docs, it would be gross. It would be weird, strange, bizarre behavior and very criticizable. But nothing's stopping him from just reaching out and DMing his mum on her public Twitter account where she interacts with drama and controversy, and she was actively feeding into this one. What I will say though, right, to critique here a little bit, what you will see is Dream sent a very, very lengthy message to TommyInnit's mum, and I would have probably just suggested that if you had any issues with the things that she was posting, that, go to your friend or the person that you've been associated with for a long time, TommyInnit, and just say, hey man, can you talk to me? Probably would have gone down just a little bit better.
I sent her a DM. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put my DM up on the screen, and I'm gonna read my DM. And I will say, before I read this DM, that after the fact, later on, when Tommy told me he was upset that I DM'd his mom, because, he essentially just said, oh, it's not cool you DM my mom, whatever. And obviously this was after his video, so we were not friends at this point. I apologized to Tommy. I said, yeah, you know what? I didn't look at it like that. I see how you could look at it as me going over your head. I wasn't going over your head. She was replying to people on Twitter, and I messaged her, in regards to that. And she was expressing opinions about the video, about Tommy's video, saying, like, oh, she thinks it's okay, and that, that it's just comedy and whatever, right? So she's expressing her opinion, and I wanted to let her know my opinion.
Again, I can completely understand why Dream would want to talk to TommyInnit's mum or relay a message to her, right? So can you not get involved in the drama, right? It's causing this, it's causing that, it's not really a good look, whatever, anything like that, right? But I think there was probably a better way to go about it than sending this long message into her Twitter DM. I can also understand why TommyInnit would be upset here, right? Like, come on.
I obviously, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I want to make sure that she his mom is expressing a public opinion about his video and interacting with my fans, and I want her to know what my opinion is. And I think that in my mind, I wouldn't do it because I wouldn't want to upset Tommy, but I would not do it because it's some weird, crazy overstep of boundaries. She's on Twitter actively tweeting at people, and I privately reach out saying, hey, just so you know, you're saying stuff about this video that involves me, and you're interacting with my fans. Here's my opinion. I think that is, in my mind, it's very reasonable.
I mean, I think there was just probably a better way you could have gone about it, right? You could have relayed the same information, right? And you could have just gone directly to Tommy, right? Regardless if you were friends or not, right? You've had this history, and if this was a real concern for you, I think just reaching out to him and, relaying that, rather than, going straight to his mum's DMs, probably would have been better, regardless if she is a public figure. If you just want to avoid all of this, right? I just think that would be easier. But isn't this whole situation like it was made out to be, right? Like he'd contacted her on her phone number, right? That he'd found possibly from her docs. It's like, come on, man. No, another thing in Dream's response that he kept bringing up was, lack of proof for claims, right? People throwing out claims with, practically zero to no proof.
Been a big trend over the last couple of years where people are either forming their opinions based on their audience or have an opinion that's formed based on something that they don't want to share publicly because they know that people would disagree with their opinion, and then they just say behind the scenes. Or they say, well, I don't know, I just think this. And, or publicly they'll say, they'll imply it's because of very negative things. Like somebody from the Brighton group will imply that, or even outright say, essentially, that they don't, they don't like Dream because Dream's a creep, or Dream's a weirdo, or Dream's a pedo. And that's not okay. If you don't have evidence to back up the reason that you think that, and you're just thinking it because of your own negative perception of Dream over the, or whatever, you don't like that I'm mean on Twitter, or, whatever, that's not fair.
Again, another instance where I completely agree with Dream, right? Dream comes off very reasonably in this response, especially here, right? Like, again, there is nothing to criticize here for Dream. And the thing is, you just know that this is true if you've been involved in any of the Minecraft situations or paid any attention to them, right? It's just a bunch of people with basically zero evidence going up to Dream and going, hi, you're a weird groomer guy, and then just leaving. And I don't blame Dream, and I don't think anyone should blame Dream, right? Because it's completely understandable why this guy would be so frustrated, right? Wouldn't you? Like, Dream can be criticized in this situation. For one, like deleting all his responses, that weird Reddit response where he deleted it as well, trying to say about reclaiming slurs, right? When, if you're gonna say retard, just stay retard and hold your ground, which he does in this stream as well, and I think it's kind of pathetic. But when it comes to things like this, Dream is so clearly in the right that if you think anything otherwise, right, I think you're pretty biased. Another point that is continued throughout this video, right, like I was saying earlier, right, about TommyInnit being slimy or whatever, is TommyInnit being pretty disingenuous.
But does this not show that Tommy is disingenuous? Does this not show that Tommy is disingenuous? Tommy is in Logan Paul's DMs being friendly with him, even after all these terrible controversies, and then the second he can get public clout from it and get public attention, likes, and views from shitting on Logan Paul, then he does it? That's disingenuous. That's knocking about. He has no backbone. It's not. He doesn't have any problem with what Logan Paul has done. He wants to gain the attention and the benefits of shitting on him.
I can see both sides here, right? Because I definitely think for literally everybody, maybe aside from Logan Paul, the argument can be made that TommyInnit is doing all of this, right? Because he saw that shitting on Logan Paul did so well, and he's just continued to do the same thing, right? For views and money. So I can definitely see Dream's viewpoint here, but a viewpoint that could also be put forth, right, is that maybe, right, TommyInnit's seen the recent things that Logan Paul has done and has gone, enough is enough. I was a naive kid when I looked up to this guy and, was doing all this stuff. Now, I'm not like that anymore. I'm done with this guy. And, this is the straw that's broke the camel's back. In my eyes, the Logan Paul one is the only one where this can be up for debate, right? Everything else just seems very clout goblin-y.
Whatever, I play Minecraft, that's it. But my thought was, oh my god, this is like the 10th person I've seen Tommy, attack in the last, however long, the last, 6 months or 5 months or whatever. That's like he thinks is easy pickings to get, get Twitter likes on or, whatever. Obviously with his initial reply. And X is my friend. I like X. X is my friend. And I'm saying, okay, so this is happening. This is not only is, Tommy, fuck Tommy. Tommy's doing this to me and he's doing this to my friends all the time. Now he's like spreading his wings because he's getting, attention from it and he's starting doing it to more people. And so mine had nothing to do with me jumping in had nothing to do with, like Tommy's specific tweet about this and nothing to do with, and nothing to do with like the drama specifically between X and Tommy or between Miskiff and Tommy, other than that thinking that they're all kind of stupid and that Tommy's just like, Tommy's being rude. He's just he's starting beef and starting drama, shit slinging for like no reason really. I mean, I guess other than attention.
I think it's the way that TommyInnit does his, shit slinging that makes it just seem like this and so very obvious what he's trying to do, right? He's not actually levying any actual critiques, right? What was Miskiff's, right? He's a weasel. Like, for the overwhelming amount of people he has spoke about, right, the majority of it is all, jokes, right? Or it's all weird criticisms. It's not actual proper critiques, right? This isn't like a commentary YouTuber sitting down to make a video. So yeah, I definitely agree with Dream there, but I also think as well, right, he's probably seen, right, that a lot of the bigger content creators are, kind of shitting on Tommy here, and he's gone, fuck it, let me get involved, right? I've got my issues with him, like, let me get involved here. Something else I found pretty interesting, right, is when Tubbo made his original stream on this whole situation, right, he proved the whole hypocrisy point for Dream, right? This whole double standard.
Things he said. I think they were celebrating him because they fucking hate Dream.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Cool. Yes, I agree. They're celebrating someone doing horrible actions because they hate Dream. They hate Dream. That is their reason. They're like, yeah, you know what? It's fine to do anything you want because we hate Dream. We'll give you likes, give you retweets, we'll give you support. We'll be in your corner. As long as you don't like Dream, then yes, your actions are totally justified and whatever. And that's just like how can that be? How can that be like a reason and not be looked at as like, wow, that's pretty bad. Like that's a bad thing to do, to be supportive of these actions because you hate somebody so strongly.
If you're genuinely one of those people that's on moral high grounds about slurs or whatever you want to be on your moral high ground about, you've got to keep that consistent, right? Just because someone's saying it's a Dream, right, and you don't like Dream, doesn't mean that you can break your morals, right, because, it's someone you don't like. Because it just simply is utterly retarded. It's also sleazy and disingenuous, right, but retarded sounds a lot better here, right, because they're actually complaining about it. Now, throughout this 3-hour response, of course, Dream went on a few tangents, right, and I want to mention 2 of them here, right? One of these tangents was about Pyrocynical, right, and his reaction to Dream's response to his allegation. And another one was about Aimsey and Tubbo, right? And there is a lot of these little side rants in this response. That's why I think it's so important that you lot, the viewers, go and watch this full response, right? Or go and watch, a little bit more of a condensed one. Because there's a lot that Dream is very vocal of. But, I've got to play this clip, right, of Aimsey, right? Because we don't like Aimsey here.
Aimsey's like master plan, and she's doing all of this, right?
I would have honestly been completely fine if Dream just blamed all of his mistakes, all of this situation, all of TommyInnit's mistakes on Aimsey. I would have been completely fine and I would have just moved on. There's another part in the stream that I do find very intriguing as well, right? It comes down to this whole, Brighton group, right? The Brighton gang, whatever you want to call them, right? The ones that associate with, Tubbo and TommyInnit, whatever, calling Dream a paedophile.
Group being like, he's a paedophile all the time, which again, I don't...
Yes, please, I would hope you get it. I would hope it's understandable. Hey, I spent a lot of time and effort and everything to clear my name and to try and put that behind me. And you're perpetuating a false narrative. It's like, yeah, I get it, but come on, there's no but there. That's terrible. There's no but. It's terrible.
Yeah, and I mean, the narrative that is forged around a lot of these Minecraft YouTubers that have separated from Dream is that Dream is still this weirdo creep. And, he pretty much dismissed that. Maybe he's a bit of a weird guy just in general, but not for the reasons that people are trying to say, right? Maybe you just want to say he's a bit of a weird degenerate that stays inside, right? Maybe you just want to say that he looks a bit weird. But the guy got blatantly falsely accused, right? Proved his innocence, and people just simply don't care. It's one of the very few cases where people don't care and just continue to call him one anyway. Dream then goes on to address why he's responding to all of this now, right? Why he's getting involved in this situation now, rather than, getting involved when people were calling paedophile falsely, right?
That's the most valid critique that Tubbo said. He's basically saying, why did you say something now and not the other times that they were lying about you being a pedophile? And honestly, my honest answer is that I don't want to bring up or bring attention to the false pedophile allegations that could have ruined my career.
I completely get that, right? Could you imagine constantly responding to that, right? We would be pretty frustrated. But as one argument that could be made is, why wouldn't you respond there, right? Trying to shut down all of this instead of waiting a little while for, some random XQC drama.
That I already put under the bridge, already put out under. So obviously, yeah, the time when there's a public beef that I can finally let a vent out into or whatever, that isn't surrounding lies about me. Sure, I'll take that opportunity, but I'm not going to directly reply to somebody. Whereas I did DM them, okay, Harry says something, I DM him and say, whatever, or you probably messaged him. Jack said something, I DM'd him. So I handled those things privately because I'm like, hey, yeah, this is bad that you're doing this. I don't want this to happen here. Let's talk about it. But me publicly bringing attention to it, hey, here's a guy that, for some reason is false, lying about me and implying I'm a pedophile.
Yeah, I do completely get this, right? Dream has spent so much time trying to prove that, he's not a groomer, he's none of these things that people are claiming, and people don't care, right? So maybe even if he did respond in these circumstances, right, at the time, would people even really care? Maybe you can be critical of Dream here, but I understand his reasoning completely. Why would you want to constantly bring attention to people lying and slandering you? Now, I've just got to include this clip, right, because Dream ends up proving, right, a really big hypocrisy point for Jack Manifold, right? Jack Manifold's talking about, right, I'd understand if he, had said this, if we'd bullied him for weeks, and, Dream kind of proves that, Jack Manifold and just other people have non-stop spoke about him for weeks, months.
Bullied him for weeks. He said that, albeit it'd still be wrong, but I could at least make some sense of it.
I think all the people in this situation, right, TommyInnit, Tubbo, Jack Manifold, they're all incredibly disingenuous, right? I think you can 100% criticize Dream for a few things in this situation, right? But it is very, 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 very clear who is this slimy, disingenuous person or people in this situation. The Dream in this video also speaks about phone calls that he's had with other creators, right? So people that support TommyInnit, like Average Harry, Jack Manifold, right? Tubbo, people like that. Of course, take this with a pinch of salt, right? We don't have proof or anything for this, right? We're just going off of what Dream is saying here.
There's been a lot of there's been a large rumor mill, right? And so I've done my best to try and go around, talk to people, call people, talk about, what people's issues are, like what they'll imply these things publicly, and so I'll be like, why was that done, right? Essentially, and then I had calls with Tubbo, Jack, Harry, Aimsey, and a bunch of other like random commentary YouTubers, and
he speaks about a few examples here, and I really want to hear right from the people that he actually speaks about, right? Jack Manifold, Tubbo, Average Harry. I really want to hear from these content creators and what they have to say about these calls, because of course we only have Dream's side, right? He might be pulling a porky, right? He might be lying about a few things, right? We just simply don't know. We don't have these calls. We're just going off of what he's saying. So I'd really like to see these content creators' side of what these calls were like.
Now there's rumors behind the scenes about everybody. By everybody, I mean everybody.
This next thing, he talks about rumors, right? And people's rumors in a way to show, right, like you're talking about rumors about me publicly, right? These are the rumors that I knew and, I dealt with this privately type thing. It was kind of a bizarre segment, right? Like he publicized that, there was a rumor behind the scenes that Jack Manifold was a cheater. But it was done in a way of like, oh yeah, for his sake, I'm not going to share, loads of details, right? I'm just going to, tell you the bare minimum about it.
Rumor that Jack, not a very faithful man. And that was something that I was like, hey, Jack, I heard this rumor. You know what I haven't done? I haven't gone publicly until now and said it and gone, hey, guys, what a dickhead Jack is, because he's a cheater, right? No, I didn't. That's not what happened. And even behind the scenes, it's something that has been brought up before, but it's always, you don't know, where the sources are on, whatever, right? And Jack said, no, that's not true. It's not true. I can prove it's not true. It's not true.
Like, I do get what Dream is doing here and what Dream is saying here, but I do find it's like a kind of a weird thing, right? Kind of a weird sentiment to carry, like a weird way to execute this as well, right? Like, this just doesn't quite sit right with me, right? Something definitely feels off. And again, this is something I'll be very interested to see how these content creators respond, right? Because this is done in kind of like a really strange way. But there is a genuinely huge thing that, Dream kind of just drops in here, which I'm going to let it play for itself.
But I would like to shed light on the handling of how it was handled. So, there was rumors behind the scenes about a particular Dream SMP creator, which I will not name because they were false, and I do not want to bring anyone's name into allegation talk, but it was none of my friends. It was no one that I'm close to at all. It was just a member of the Dream SMP. And these rumors spread pretty far because Tommy was going around and telling people that this person was a pedophile.
Like, Jesus Christ, right? Casually drops it at the end of a 3-hour bloody live stream, right? Took you long enough to mention something juicy like this. Like, if what Dream is saying here is true, right? Like, this is how it happened, what happened, right? This is genuinely insane, right? This is awful. It'd be really, really funny if, like, none of this was true and, like, Dream had done this to show that, this is how bad rumors spread, right? Like, false rumors spread like this. How do you feel now, right? That would be just absolutely comedic genius. Like, really throw him in the deep end, right? This is what I've been dealing with. Now you deal with it, fuckers.
Wilbur back then got told by Tommy. And Wilbur said, hey, have you looked into this? Have you talked to him about it? This isn't me. It's not any of my friends. And Tommy said, no. And Wilbur said, okay, well, all right, well, we need to go talk to Dream about it so Dream can look into it because it's his server and he doesn't want anybody like that on it, right? So, of course, they get in a call and Tommy's forced to tell me. And I go, oh my God, okay, I'll go look into it, right? I go look into it. I don't know, about 30 minutes later, the creator I'm talking to clears it up. The information was completely false. It was just, rumors spread behind the scenes, whatever. And we were able to confirm, trust me, you just have to take my word for it. It was completely confirmed, 100% they were false.
This would have been around the time when Dream SMP was still going on, right? This would have probably been 2020, 2021. So, TommyInnit would have been around 17 odd, right? Look, he's irresponsible at that age, whatever, blah, 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 right? Like, you can be charitable there and, like, I'd get that. But if what Dream is saying is true, regardless of how charitable and, like, the age, right, and how irresponsible you are at that age, it's just insane, right? It's just gross. I want to reiterate, right, if what Dream is saying is true, right? Of course, I'm assuming Tommy would probably respond to something like this. Seems like something pretty serious, right? That Tommy might want to respond to. So, of course, wait for his side. Let's see what he's going to say too, right?
The most normal response to when somebody hears rumors is either one, ignoring them because you don't have evidence behind them. 2, looking into them, like reaching out to the person, or whatever. And then, or 3, Either you ignore them or you reach out to this person. And the third option, which is what they choose to take, which is the unreasonable one, is let's just talk about it publicly like it's a fact.
Yeah, again, something that you've seen time and time again if you've been paying attention to any of the Minecraft stuff over the past few years. Now, in my previous video on this situation, right, Tubbo actually mentioned, right, that there was something inappropriate that he felt uncomfortable with in one of these Dream SMP servers, right? And actually Dream ends up, you know, addressing this in this video.
In like one of the one of the Dream SMP chats or whatever, there was like a fan art porn image shown. Now, obviously, that's not something that should be shown regardless to anybody. It doesn't matter what the affiliation is, but or like what their, I guess, age is, unless they, or whatever. But to give context, because I think it is important to this situation, is it was a bunch of Dream SMP people in a call looking at the fact that fans were drawing crazy art like that and making fun of it and being like, oh my God, this is crazy, this is disgusting. No one should do this, essentially. And to give context to like an image, I guess I don't know how to say this without it being kind of, it's not graphic, but like it is. I think it was like a Bad Boy Halo Minecraft character with like, and a Skeppy Minecraft character. Obviously, again, I validated Tubbo's concerns and was like, yeah, obviously that's something that could make someone uncomfortable, and I totally see that. And obviously, if you're a minor being around something shared like or shown like that, then you wouldn't want to be.
Whoa, no, I would imagine if you were like 17, right, and you've seen that, right, you wouldn't want to be around that, right? And maybe you would just be a bit more careful, right? People being in the Dream SMP, not to post that around like 17-year-olds. Regardless if you're gonna sit there, point and laugh, right? Regardless if they've probably seen it on their Twitter, I'm like, you know what I mean, right? It's just irresponsible, reckless, and gross. And you can completely understand why Tubbo would feel like that. I think that's pretty reasonable. But that was Dream's response, and I've been scrolling on Twitter, right, for some time now, seeing what people's reactions were, and people are just so damn fucking malicious. It's disgusting. People are just openly lying about what he was saying in his response, how he said it, right, what he was talking about, and it's gross. One of these great examples, right, is people saying that, Dream just openly admitted to being a Trump supporter, right? But that's just not the case. He literally actively went against it. He said the complete opposite.
People to shit on me for, being a Trump supporter and being, that's the reason I got involved. When he knows that's not the case. He knows that I got involved because of, my problems.
Just openly clip-chipped him and spoke over him saying, that's not the case. People are so disingenuous, it's infuriating. Like, you don't have to like Dream, right? I certainly don't like Dream. I've got my own issues with Dream, right? And I think there are little bits here and there in this response and, how he's dealt with the situation that you can definitely critique, right? But, like, Jesus Christ, man. It also already seems, right, like Tubbo is ready to go for another stream, so I'm very intrigued to see what he has to say. And it seems like he's also open for, Dream to call in and, have a conversation. Because, of course, the things that Dream was saying were just his point of view, right? We've got to see what all these other people are saying. There wasn't much evidence to back up the stuff that he was saying. It was just what, his view of stuff. So, again, I'm very intrigued to hear what other people have to say about this, right? The people involved. TommyInnit, Jack Manifold, and Tubbo. But please feel free to leave your comments down below, right? Leave your thoughts on this response. What did you think, right? Please feel free to comment down below. Once you're down there, you might as well hit that subscribe bell. And I have been your host, Samuel. This has been a long-ass day, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video.